Rockets. Let's go. Team A, Team B, just like we want it.
I'm fixing it. All right, we got Pocket R, because I don't think I'm going to fit Pocket Rockets. And, and then, of course, on the other side, we have G.
So an Umbreon ban off rip. No worries there. I mean, that's that based on what we saw like at the final stretch. I think we talked about it ad nauseum. Slash's Umbreon was just something special. And I don't know if it was just for that weekend, but it was certainly good enough for the rest of the time here. And taking a look at Pocket Rockets, some names that you may recognize. Z-Loot. I love Z-Loot, but it's not Z-Loot because Z-Loot's on the other side. Fall soon, however. Yeah, it's a fan. He's a fan. But Blaziken, Machamp ban because they're targeting down the quarterback, the support Machamp that Pooty likes to play.
Yeah, that is hilarious. I did not expect to see the hard call out of the Machamp ban. I was talking about Deucex about this match a little bit before, so I was prepping him on some of these teams, and the quarterback is a cornerstone of the strategy of Pocket Rockets that support Machamp we see so often. So I guess we're going to have to go think outside that crazy box that Pocket Rockets normally lives in, and instead we'll just pick up some very solid options in the Mimikyu, Cram, and Slowbro.
Here's the thing, you were thought, but in reality, I've played with Pooty, and I've played while they've played the quarterback Machamp, so I'm well up to speed on what that does. However, on G, we've got a little bit of a traditional G strategy here. Sylveon, Blissey, Mew, and Tree, no question asked, because Pooty doesn't... Why not?
All right, here we go. Yeah, if we got to go into some Brave New Worlds, I think Zeraora and Zarina are definitely a very fun way to do things. On the other side, G has their final selection. By the way, picking up the Mew, which I have been pretty low on competitively for quite some time. I haven't thought it was super fantastic, but some teams still believing it. Black CH, obviously a player who has put in a lot of hours on that Pokemon in particular, and is really going to try to make that work. Well, at least Zealot will. Black going to return to the Sylveon, which we've seen so much from them in the past. Garchomp going to be swinging in with that Muscle Band, Scope Lens, Focus Band build. OG believing in this Pokemon, and Garchomp actually getting a decent buff in that recent patch. That cooldown buff doing a lot of work for that Pokemon, and if you can use your combo just a few more times, especially in the early parts of the game, when you're digging for Garchomp, you're still in that Gabite stage, I think you're feeling pretty okay about a scenario like that. But, alright, we are all queued up for game number 1. By the way, chat, I think Dupe's next is just going to be stepping away to restart the PC real quick, see if we can get their mic a little more consistent before we get them back in and casting some games, but we're going to be jumping into match number 1 of Unite Mike Season 5, Week 1, Game number 1. Jeez, there's a lot of qualifiers. We probably got to work on that title. But we have G versus Pocket Rockets. Pocket Rockets, your blue team. G going to be the orange team. Of course, you got me and Deuce next on the mic for this match. We have Gamma on the sticks in terms of observing. I think they still use a controller. I actually don't remember. I don't think it's a flight stick, but don't think it's a mouse and keyboard.
Controller.
All right, it is a controller. We have confirmation, official confirmation on the controller. Jump into game. The Cramorant, of course, one of the most popular attackers in the game right now. Doesn't quite line up to the level that we've seen Sylveon being played so frequently and so often in today's metagame. However, it does see some showcases. Pooty's Zeraora hosting that EXP share, though, is going to be a Pokemon we don't see frequently. We're going to be seeing a whole lot of tonight. Already taken a few haymakers for the face from both Egg Noob and Black CH, and they will be brought down quickly. No red buff to speak of as they head back to the respawn zone. Unfortunate, just shy on that invade clear. Deuce next, are you back?
That's a question. I have no idea. Am I?
Yeah, I hear you loud and clear.
Correct. Well, I said correct. Great is actually what I meant to say.
You're
Zarina's in here. We'll see the support Zeraora, of course, which I know you've called out and talked about here. Looks like Pocket Rocket a little up on the levels here, eh?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, doing all right. I mean, Zeraora having to bring 2 targets into their own central area to try to take it from away do not allow them to clear their own paths as quickly as maybe they would have liked.
Well, we like to see that, of course. Electro Ball immediately deletes a Mimikyu in the top path. Sylveon's putting a little bit of pressure onto the backline. Slowbro trying to cover up for the Cram a little bit. Zeraora supporting the best way they can on the front line, and they're easily buckled by the overpowered Sylveon. Electro Ball comes through, tons of damage, follow-up KO. Gibble is moving. Gibble is down, of course, and now Blissey is just smacking them up front, doing the best they can. G looking solid.
Yeah, great rotations by G, understanding that the main plan of Pocket Rockets right now is to get to Zarina. They want to skip past these pesky 1 through level 5 stages and get to the Queen herself at level 6. Such an important breakpoint for this Pokemon. Honestly, you really don't do much up until that moment. So they're putting all their resources into that. G reads them like a book, counters with a lot of their own players and resources, and it's a great response.
Nice Dragon Rush attempt to close the door on the Zeraora. Cram there to dive backwards as well, as now you just pivot and take everything into the middle. Now that experience lead that Pocket Rocket had is slowly getting chipped away at, as now G's on the doorstep of balancing this thing up. Zarina going right onto the Blissey though, taking care of the Gabite, who is going to have to scramble back. Nice scald by the Slowbro. Fall soon to get some space.
Yeah, Zarina versus Garchomp is actually a really interesting battle if we're going to try to break down the intricacies of these 2 all-rounders. I mean, Trop Kick is definitely something that you don't want to deal with as most brawlers, but you also got a lot of movement abilities with the Garchomp that can try to negate it, but that shield it gets is so pesky for a Pokemon like Garchomp to deal with.
Well, Garchomp comes back, use their eject button after the Dragon Rush to try and get out, but Cramorant is there to close the door on them. Egg Bomb going to separate, but there's 4 players from Pocket Rockets on here trying to blast off again on this goal zone. Slowly chipping away at a Solar Beam from way downtown as Black CH is in there. Zeraora getting low, making you pop their Unite move. They're on the chase. Can they get the Cram? Big Electro Ball for the boosted auto? No. Just the boosted auto. No Electro Ball to follow suit. Nice barrier to get away themselves. Solar Beam finds no one. And now G is sitting here still on a 3 versus 2. Quickly telekinesis in. Zarina collapses on Black. We got the first stomp and a dart back through. And now they're on the goal zone. Zoinks, what a turn.
Oh, that's a tough combo to deal with. I mean, Zarina plus Slowbro, if you land that telekinesis, and it is an if, and I've never seen that interaction before. It looked like a seesaw with the telekinesis up one direction and the egg knock up the other one. But Regieleki landing in that goal zone remains at 2, which is a huge overdunk for Pocket Rockets on the top side, but honestly very much needed from that team. They're falling quite far behind thanks to the presence in the bot path from G. Mimikyu was putting up some solid work for Pocket Rockets at the bottom path, even solo in a 1v2 scenario, but still the score lead was starting to slip away. Great response by Pocket Rockets so far.
Yeah, and really, because of those quality KOs, they were able to get in the top path, you know, find those picks, get Mew, get Black CH down. They are still in the level lead. Mimikyu at level 10, Zoinks, really outpacing the rest of G here.
Yeah, it's a great Pokemon to dive on a specific target. However, there's very little squish on the side of G. So Mimikyu actually has to play a much more patient game than normally we would see. Trust in the Cramorant and Zeraora of all Pokemon to do early poke damage and then have the cleanup crew be going towards the Mimikyu, who I believe is the I Love Zaloot player. So, infamous for that.
Yeah, infamous, as we all know, of course. And support Zeraora, where else but in the opposing central, and their HP bar is eviscerated quite quickly by the tandem of Sylveon and Garchomp here. Typically, 2 Pokemon that are natural predators to each other because of the weakness, right? But today, working together.
Finally, they can combine their forces. I love it.
Yeah, like with our powers combined type energy.
It's a good response. Oof, Garchomp's Unite move shut down immediately by that Mimikyu. Takes up so much of that timer, and now OG just got to get it done the old-fashioned way.
Yeah, Bliss Assistance, though, was canceled initially. They get it right back. Electro Ball is there. Now they're stomping through. Garchomp is ready to do work. Picked up by the Zarina. Scissor Kick of Queen's Majesty to the sky. Supreme Royalty. And now we're moving forward. Unitas, now they're going to look for targets. 2 players down for Pocket Rocket. And we're looking for more. Quickly, Sylveon darts out, but Cram is on the chase. They want this one bad. They at least get one back after Black CH gets a KO streak of 2. I Love Zaloot is finding themselves in this Regieleki, and they are able to secure as the rest of G have pivoted downstairs.
Yeah, huge fight win for Pocket Rockets. It was kind of a 1-by-1 fight. Black was able to turn things around for a moment, make it look good, but when you have Zarina Unite, Mimikyu Unite, and Slowbro Unite, the amount of 1v1 shutdowns just make this matchup for OG a living hell to deal with, and you saw them putting all their work into just trying to survive in that team fight. Eventually, they do get KO, but that does allow them to pivot, get a Registeel, and of course, get that attack buff for the next 90 seconds.
Well, quickly, Regieleki is just sitting on this goal zone getting worked on by Trev, as Garchomp is on top of this Slowbro. Along with Eggnoob, they're easily able to dispatch that. I mean, you got to look at how big OG is right here. Moving through level 11, faltering a little bit behind. Again, Pocket Rockets were finding value in the experience lead and being able to hold on to it. But G pretty well despite being behind.
Yeah, they're playing well. They don't have a lot of Pokemon that super need scaling either, so I don't think they're too worried about that. Big initiation with the Trevenant Unite move, but it only hits Mimikyu, and that's not a lot of space gained, and that's a great response from Pocket Rockets so far.
Dragon Rush misses, however, trying to cut off the Zeraora. Finally, the Zeraora can deal with the Garchomp. Moving backwards now without their main source of frontlining. And it's there in a support capacity. So because of that, they still can't continue the push.
All right, Sylveon going to be clearing their own central area. Red buff going their way. Both teams just trying to clear their buffs as quickly as they can. Of course, 30 seconds away from the final stretch, and these teams are extremely close, at least at the points margin. Oh, sick eject button slide. But OG actually halting, not wanting to get that KO, delay the respawn timer for Zeraora as long as they can.
Now, hopefully you can hear me and you didn't lose me before. Regieleki is here now. OG might have an opportunity to rip this thing. And really, it looks like they're just showing some presence, perhaps, or baiting just another 2 seconds out as they're going for the full rip, and that's got an opportunity to crash into the middle. Whew. Cranberry just sitting there, though, trying to get some vision. I think they're going to get good.
All right, Rayquaza now trying to do a little bit of damage. You see that Shadow Sneak target right below them, which means they are picking that Rayquaza immediately. Already Brett's down to about half HP. Solar Beam does some really damage. Zarina extremely low, but it's still trying to contend. Great timing on that Unite move. They could not wait any longer with their HP as low as it was. Rayquaza actually being ignored in change of the team fight. Mimikyu Unite move gonna try to shut down Black CH, but that's so many resources all in one, and a huge setup by LG Slash with that Trevenant hitting every remaining target on the battlefield with that Trevenant Unite move, and then there's 4 targets down. G, with a huge Rayquaza secure at this point in the game, are going to wash Pocket Rockets out of game number 1. And with that, we have G just returning back to their side. Pocket Rockets trying to mount up a little bit, see if they can push an offense, but with this bad of a score deficit, Zealot throwing in yet another Hundo Burger, and 40 seconds remaining. Things are looking as bleak as ever. Black CH does fall, scoring attempts from Pocket Rockets to make things a little bit closer. Cramorant throwing in 60, but this is pad the stats time. Dupsnax calls it garbage time. So will I, as 20 seconds remain on this matchup. And G, going to be starting things off in a fantastic spot in our game number 1, starting our match 1-2-0. Over Pocket Rockets. The targeted Machamp ban is going to work out in the favor of this squad. Absolutely wild stuff to see. Telekinesis Slowbro just not quite doing what they needed to do. Slowbro lockdown, Mimikyu lockdown, Zarina lockdown. All that and more could not stop Slash Can themselves with that Trevenant secure. Wild stuff at the end of that matchup. Take a look at those stats. A 4-digit point game to start our series off. G definitely making it look clean in our first matchup of Unite Mike's Mayhem that we have been having. 7 KOs for Black CH. 4 for OG, definitely slowed them down a little bit. Eggnoob with a mighty 5 KOs on the Blissey as well, by the way. Soaking up 67,000 bits of damage. You gotta remember, Blissey, one of the best supports at not only supporting, but also playing a pseudo-tank role for the team. You pair that with a Trevenant, you really get a fantastic combination. So, great way to start our event. We are gonna be jumping to a Be Back Soon screen for just a short moment while we figure out some stuff on our end. But when we are back, more Unite Mike's Mayhem and back into our first series of the night right after this. I think he's back now. Did I do
Fingers
it?
crossed.
Well, your mic's back, which is the best. So
that is technically the most important part of this whole endeavor here. And now we're straight into the game. G won game 1. You did a great job closing out the last 3 minutes of that game by yourself, my friend. GG's to you. GG's to G. Now on to game 2 to see if GG can make it 2 of 3. Bang.
All right. Ooh, okay. I mean, is it a quid pro quo to, like, rhyme G so many times together, you know? I don't know. But it is an incredible alliteration of a sentence, which is huge.
It is more, I was more going for the alliteration
good.
than, let's say, just rhyming cat with cat.
I see.
Like that.
A hat on a hat, if you will. All right, here we go. Into game number 2. The Machamp ban remains, which is both hilarious and aggravating that I talked up this Pocket Rockets team for this pick so much, and G are going to back-to-back ban that Pokemon, but is what it is. Slowbro receives the ban from Pocket Rockets this time, not the Umbreon. So from you, actually. So Umbreon is going to emerge for G and as well as the Blissey this time around.
Yeah, unsurprisingly, to be honest, G is trying to win and get the money, so they're going to take they're going to take their 2 of their best Pokemon and really just be in this position to tactfully respond with whatever Pocket Rockets goes with, and they've got a great core.
I like the picking up the Phalanx, and then they all clearly watched NAIC. They do not want OG was taken to have the Lucario in their arsenal if that's going to happen. So they're going to take the Phalanx as well as Lucario. Also, it warms my heart to see Cranberry on the Lucario pick, by the way. I think Cranberry finally old enough to play in UCS this upcoming season. I think they're definitely grinding to do some try-hard games these days because I played a lot of custom games with Cranberry back in the day in some like streamer pickup games and stuff. Very fun. They're an incredible Lucario player.
Well, we've got some switch ups, some switch arounds. We've got a sword for Pooty, and they're fall soon. Fall soon follows suit. And they've got themselves some warriors, but not a lot of sustain if you count just a raw support. Now there's unique ways that they can get there. But traditionally, no. On the other hand, OG says, okay, I won't have the Lucario, but I will take myself a T-Tar.
Yeah. Okay, the Tyranitar is an interesting pick here. They were hovering Metagross for a hot second, and I actually really liked the Metagross pick into the composition that Pocket Rockets has built so far. Tyranitar, I think, will achieve similar options. Lucario, Phalanx, and Aegislash all have pretty impressive defenses. Tyranitar doesn't care about those because they just hit below with that true damage factor, so that'll be very, very important when it comes to a few of those targets. However, Metagross just gets so much shield off so many all-arounders, I'm not too sure. Pooty gonna be strapping the EXP share to yet another Pokemon. This time it's gonna be the Aegislash, and they're gonna rock that Float Stone as well. If you haven't seen a Hone Edge Jungle Invade yet, prepare yourselves. You're about to witness it.
So, random thought. Back in the day, in the Pokemon TCG, there was a deck that was incredibly popular called Bombtar. Is Blissey and T-Tar technically the Unite version of Bombtar?
Heck yeah, I'm so down. You know, that's one thing that I've always said in Unite that I wish we had, is fun names for team comps, you know? Like, we had Zombie Comp there for a little bit, but that was like the only fun name one. Otherwise, like Dive or Poke. Like, that's so boring. Bombtar? I'm so in.
Let's do it. Bombtar. Remember, there was at one point the Bubblegum lane when it was it Slowbro, Clefable, and Blissey going into one path.
That is true. That is true. Okay, we have fun. We have misnomers across.
We had a couple.
All right, I'll give it. Names will be fun for Lane. Just Lane, that's fine too. Ooh, Zealot was solid. Red buff already. Eeh.
I mean, they're just support tearing through. Sylvia has not invaded much. I mean, it's hanging out in the yard, but it's not really, like, disturbing the peace quite yet. So they're going to try and take some of this wild farm for themselves to maybe find a way to make this worthwhile. Meanwhile, there's a double that I didn't want to say. Orange Team G is finding their way into some knockouts early, and that was the most desperate scramble by a Hone Edge to try and attack a Bundle BI I've ever seen.
Get those clears quick, get some scores in to try to evolve to the Doublade as quickly as you possibly can. Because, yeah, so far, the impact that Pooty has been felt has not been felt by too many enemies on the other side. I mean, Zealot's already almost level 5. OG actually at that break point, and a ton of early damage with that triple hit of Stone Edge already. Cranberry does have the extreme speed Lucario, so it is a true fun gamer, Lucario. Some people say power-up punch is fun. To those, I say you have not played extreme speed before. It's just too fun of a movie.
I couldn't agree more. I'm right there with you. My concern here, if I'm Pocket Rockets, is we just had a 4v4 and our entire team was sent reeling because everyone was below 1/3 HP compared to G when they showed up and pulled up for the smoke. Quickly, another knockout for G as the Hone Edge has a tough time evolving with the fire that was just put to them. Agnew playing far forward. They're putting down the oven mitts, trying to smack a cram around. Meanwhile, we're E-speeding, but we're not really finding a ton of value. Cool moves, but not really getting the scores out of the judges here with those moves as more wild farm is taken by G.
Yeah, a Pokemon notorious for its early game might be Lucario. However, the extreme speed has always been more favored in the team fighting proportion. Let's not forget that Etley is still very much a relevant factor in this matchup, but the Phalanx has already hit level 6, very, very close to level 7 as well, and this Phalanx can be devastating in the right hands, but they got a lot of competition in G right now.
Yeah, they're putting a ton of damage here. The Phalanx getting a decent engage in the faces of 4, but the firepower is just too much. They're sent reeling. Of course, more points have gone in, 90 to 53, and G's now just hanging out, see if they can bait them out, and now we're moving to KOs. Can the Phalanx and Lucario do the work that they need to? Cranberry in the back line trying to punch up Slash here. Phalanx finds 2, which isn't a bad look for them, or excuse me, I guess the Lucario and Phalanx tandem find 2, as this Doublade is just trying to score, goes for the engage, and finally they knock out Slash. Cram Unite? Question mark? What was that gigantic circle we just saw?
Yeah, a big AoE. I am not exactly sure, honestly, that I'm trying to think about what could have made a giant circle, but there it is. I honestly want to say, I think Pocket Rockets playing this team fight extremely well so far in the early game. When you're running this triple all-rounder comp, the biggest difficulty you're going to have is just not taking too much poke damage before you get involved in a fight. And of course, eventually it's going to be having to deal with Tyranitar. But so far, a great play by Cranberry. Splits the team into, allows Etley to get their Phalanx into the backline and just take a quick 2 knockouts on the other side. Aegislash could do some stun work in the back, and Cranberry can easily solo 2 supports on the other side. So a nice response. Obviously, it's a very strange comp you don't see very often, but they're playing it with some cool mastery that you could only see with the level of a team like Pocket Rockets.
Perfect tick over to Tyranitar and Blissey using that Unite move to save Tyranitar in what was a pretty dire situation, I'll be honest, Zoinks. I mean, Pooty was doing pretty good on the Aegislash, but now the Siege on the bottom path might be something that G is lining up to do. Phalanx jumps forward, and now the Lucario gets caught up because they E-speeded into the central farm. And because of that, that's a free little shot that they're going to be able to get on this goal zone if they want it. Slash playing incredibly far forward. Trevennitis pop catches 2. Can they leverage it? Phalanx jumps right on top of them. They are chunked huge. Sylveon goes down. And now everybody's scrambling back to their own pad. This Phalanx is a menace.
Yeah, good blind by Black CH. It at least allowed them to escape. With the eject button, I don't think that Etley had any idea that Chandelure was instead behind them instead of right in front of them. They get 1 KO, but yeah, this Phalanx is so difficult to deal with. So far, the only response from G has been Black CH's Imprison on the Chandelure. I think they're going to be hoping for some big Tyranitar moves a little bit later, but Tyranitar, we might be able to ignore some defenses. Tough time into CC.
Yeah, and it's getting outpaced right now by the Phalanx in terms of levels, right? They're at parity, but I believe the Phalanx is just a little bit ahead and they're level 11. And if it's not, it's because the Tyranitar has committed only its time to getting Wild Farm right here. G pivoting, sending the Sylveon and the Tyranitar up, and we've got Cranberry on the horizon here taking a look, and no fear Pooty just using that boosted auto going straight in. Regieleki taking a ton of damage. We finally have the E-Speed. We've got some Unites popping. Sylveon's looking for their target. They're screaming at him, and the coup de grace secures the Regieleki for Pocket Rockets. So I'm going to leverage that. We're going to keep moving forward. That sword is getting screamed at. Wide Guard is there, but now Cramorant and Phalanx are pulling up for the smoke too. Little dive backwards. It looks like they might be giving up on it. See if they can take something in the middle.
Yeah, Sylveon, Umbreon, and Blissey, just three of the most tanky and difficult to knock out Pokemon in the entire game. Makes it even tougher on that tier 2 goal zone. Aegislash caught out in a tough spot, but hey, that's vision gained. You gotta hope your team's ripping that Reggie quick, but I think, unfortunately, if you're Pocket Rockets, it has barely been touched.
Yeah, but the Phalanx has tons of HP and is going to have a great way to engage here with follow-up Treb. They go right into the backline trying to close the gap on Black CH, and they're pretty successful, at least getting the spacing there. Regieleki is not getting paid attention to by anyone, which is going to leave it up for an opportunity for Pocket Rockets. Here comes Tyranitar, though. They couldn't close it out fast enough. KO Shrika 2 for the Phalanx on the backside. Tyranitar taking out Lucario. Tyranitar still scrapping downstairs, and Pooty clutches out for Pocket Rockets again, takes another one. And Tyranitar now getting support from Slash as they're going to keep going forward. OG and Slash getting the sword sorted out. But that is a level 10 sword and not a lot of experience value gain. Trevenite popped, and these teams are fighting as the day is long, my friend. We're moving through, we're E-speeding. Tyranitar's at half HP. We're trying to Horn Leech them out. Aura Cannon comes through. Sylveon buckled. We're keep going to the back line. Now Eggnoob is completely separate from everybody. Slash is trying to meet up with them. Tyranitar goes down. KO Shrika 2 for Cranberry.
Yeah, I mean, we have that Registeel buff on a couple of targets. They've been putting it to good use. Slash getting stunned all the way, but that allows Etley to get in the back line and not have to worry about an Umbreon slowing them down at all. 40 points will go in for Pooty, which will put Pocket Rockets into a very nice scoring position. And that's 2 fights in a row. I mean, or you could call it one giant fight, really. It depends on how you define these fights. But 2 fights in a row sliding in the direction of Pocket Rockets. We had Blacken and I believe it was OG kind of split up on 2 different sides of that Reggie fight. And I don't think anybody, even me, expected Phalanx to win that 1v1 versus Chandelure with how much HP they had, but they still were able to pull it off. So very impressive stuff from Pocket Rockets, leveraging this all melee all the time, except we also have a duck comp. Is that a good name? Can we use that name?
I'm not opposed to it. Here we go.
Right.
5 seconds until Rayquaza hits the map, and it looks like T-Tar is going to be, OG is going to be taking a look at Regieleki as it goes in. Ray hits the map. We'll see how we play it.
All right, we have Tyranitar waiting to score a ton of points in that goal zone. Of course, they will. It will not give them the score lead, though. Unfortunate for them, they won't know that until we hit that 1 minute mark either. And honestly, it'll be too close to call even at that point. Bottom positioning, and it makes sense. You want to have the melee positioning for the side of Pocket Rockets around the entrance to the Rayquaza pit, so they are going to favor the bottom side of the map. But T-Tar's found their way to the back line. Pooty going to gain some valuable info and run.
Yeah, half HP just instantly gone with just a couple button presses from OG there. Now, finally, I Love Zillet sussed out. Can't Horn Leech away Slash as they put a wish on themselves. Still looking for the positional advantages, G. They're looking for more targets, too. They're getting screamed at, but Pocket Rockets ain't there to hear it. G still trying to lure them in slowly.
Yeah, it's been cool to watch Cranberry on this E-Speed Lucario. So far in the early game, they were doing a good job of weaving their Extreme Speed in when the cooldowns were gone. If Imprison was used by Black, they were jumping in after that, or they were able to dodge a lot of the Tyranitar Sand Streams. Now they're at their level 13. They have that plus move on Sand Tomb. Basically, there will be an infinite Sand Stream around OG at any given time. That's so much extra defense. That's going to be really, really hard for Pocket Rockets to deal with.
Well, Slash putting the screws with Cranberry right now, forcing an engagement here. Sylveon pops their Unite. Zealot is looking for a way to deal some damage, and they're screaming at them quickly. They have to pivot downstairs. We have a Bliss Assist on top of Tyranitar. They take out the Phalanx. That's the biggest member of Pocket Rockets down, and now they're actually scoring here in the face of this team as the rest of the squad is looking to bubble out. Falsoon on the Cram puts a little Hurricane down. We're jumping in the middle. We pop our Unite. Slash is there. Falsoon takes it. Now Slash is down. We have still plenty of time for this team to score. Sylveon's jumping to the top. They're going to be able to scream at fall soon. Can they actually break a shield? 30 there. This Hundo Banger is going to go in, and I have no idea how many they score. Oh, they've got tons of points going to the backside. 100 yet, but now we have an 80, and the Shandy points don't go in, and I think Pocket Rockets might have just eat this thing out.
Oh, man, yeah, some counter scoring going both directions, but I think you're right, too, Snacks. When the points are all totaled, I think Pocket Rockets is tying this up. Of course, we'll wait for the officials to really jump in and throw in their points and see who is the end, and yes, it will be Pocket Rockets in more of a landslide than I thought victory, actually. 566 to 338, fall soon. Not a single KO in the match, but I guess we'll take the Rayquaza with that Cramorant. A lot of resources used by G to shut down that Phalanx at the end of the game. All hands on deck, in fact, to try to take that knockout. And then in return, Pocket Rockets just takes full position around the Rayquaza, not worried when no one's got Unites to really contend with them around the Ray, and they make magic happen. 69k damage from OG, very, very nice on the Tyranitar, but not enough for a match win.
I must say, the story of Pocket Rockets' win here, to me, was objectives. They were there, they were securing them in the face of G, in the ones that they actually wanted to engage in. They didn't miss many of them, including that last one, Rayquaza. Yeah. And with just like 14 seconds left on the clock, despite the counter scoring that G actually initiated there, they could not set up themselves with a big enough lead to have that be a difference maker.
Yeah, that's true. Oof, I mean, some back half shenanigans made things a little bit close, but you're right. With that point lead being the way it was, not an issue. And, okay, so we've gotten a couple of different support looks from Pooty so far in this game. And by support looks, I mean Pokemon with experience share strapped onto their heads. We have now seen the Aegislash and the Zeraora support. And to your breakdown of what Pocket Rockets was doing well, I think we gotta favor Aegislash quite a bit in that way. Because of that secure on Aegislash is incredible. Whether it's with their boosted autos in sword form or just the coup de grace unite, both are incredible ways to take out high HP targets. All of our main objectives in the game have gigantic HP pools, so Aegislash doing a great job there. We've yet to see the Machamp support, which I know I have talked about so much at this point, but we are going to be switching sides in the draft screen, putting G in first pick position now. This could be our chance. They have been banning Machamp in that second ban slot on orange side, so we'll have to see if maybe we get a toss up finally, and we get the Machamp support. I'd love to see the quarterback personally.
I would too. I'd love to see the quarterback. I'd love to see G get a little creative now. And I think they got a little out creatived in the second game, right? And sometimes you get so kind of wonky with it that just the tried and true is just so strong it can overcome that. But Pocket Rockets was doing a good job leveraging their unique composition and really putting the squeeze on G. And G had a much better start to this second game than the first, but still had problems engaging in these fights. Yeah, a little worrisome. When we had the Umbreon on Slash, it felt like it didn't quite live up to the value that Trevenant was bringing in that game number 1. And so it's a slightly different defender lineup. It felt, I don't know, a little lackluster potentially. Of course, we had the Blissey, which I think put in a ton of early work in the game, but it sort of was going hand in hand with the Tyranitar for all the stages of the late game. Not necessarily a bad thing when you're putting all your resources towards a hyper carry style Pokemon like Tyranitar, but it felt like maybe the rest of the squad wasn't getting the resources that maybe they needed to stay up and running. Also, I'm pretty confident Zealot was trying to Sylveon Unite over the Ray Wall in that final team fight and ended up not on the other side of the Ray Wall and instead in the face of 4 members of Pocket Rocket. Another thing that I think maybe led to the demise of that specific team in that game. Definitely a difference, the potential difference that could have made. Another thing I want to highlight real quick is when Tyranitar was level 11, so was Phalanx on the other side, and the resource distribution was very weighted into the Tyranitar for G and not that weighted into the Phalanx, right? Because the Phalanx was getting KO after KO on premium targets on the other side of the map, and they were kind of doing it by fighting the other team, and G was funneling everything into Tyranitar, and it wasn't even ahead. So things to consider here. Phalanx is getting banned. Pocket Rockets knows how strong it is, and they don't want G to have it. Meanwhile, G still leaning on this Blaziken.
Yeah, and I gotta say the one thing I'm most excited to see, and there it is, no Machamp ban. Finally. Goro is unleashed, potentially. We'll have to see if it's actually chosen. But for the first time in this series, Machamp is not banned, so Pocket Rocket's having a chance at the quarterback. Of course, unless G tries to take it away. Zealot hovering that Pokemon, teasing us all by potentially stealing that option. It would be interesting to see if Cranberry wants to go back in the Lucario direction this game, Deuce Next. It worked out really, really well, especially later on in the game, which we don't say too often about Lucario, but it was actually looking sick.
Yeah, immediately locking in Sylveon Trev. Not a bad look. Those two just incredibly strong Pokemon for this Pocket Rocket team. I mean, we've seen two different Trev players on the side of Pocket Rockets, and Cranberry was not one of those two individuals. We might see some swaps around. Eggnoob saying, give me the Hoopster, give me the Leafeon. We're doing it big in a big way here. Zealot locking in the Evolution.
Ooh, okay. Fall soon, locking in the Sableye. So potentially 2 EXP shares for what feels like the first time for the side of Pocket Rockets, but being wielded by 2 very unique Pokemon. We get the quarterback, we get the Gremlin. I mean, really, what else could you want for a Game 3 in our first set? It'll be Garchomp and Mew being locked in as well on the final picks of G. The final pick of the game, though, going to I Love Zalu, will be the return of the Mimikyu. It will not be the Zarita, Mimikyu, Slowbro epic gauntlet that OG had to run in game number 1, but still, that Mimikyu ability to lock down a specific target, I think we're going to see that a lot onto either the Leafeon or the Garchomp. Both fantastic options to make sure that you take out that Unite move for just even a moment.
That is a very, very solid call out. And of course, Cranberry staying on the Trevenant, taking it top, which is just makes it such a unique Pokemon for this team, as they can pick it and shift it to 3 players, depending on how the rest of their draft goes. But the way Pocket Rocket was selecting their squad here, they knew exactly what direction they were going in. There was no question of what Pokemon they were locking in, and they're hopefully going to put on a show here for us in Game 3.
I hope so. I mean, I think everybody hopes so. We had an epic show in game number 2, and in fact, game number 1, so I'm hoping for just the same here in game number 3. Slash looking quite dapper on that Slowbro. I'm not gonna lie, kind of surprising to not see the wrestler get up on Slowbro. I feel like I've just been seeing that on every single Slowbro I've seen for the last few days, but... All right.
It's incredible.
Chat, this is what we promised you all when Pocket Rocket signed up for this tournament. The support Machamp, the Sableye scenes. I mean, we're here for all of it. No failings thanks to some clever ban strategies by G, which I don't think anybody can blame them for after the events of game number 2. So we'll have to see if Pocket Rockets can get it done with, well, what feels like new school, but for this squad, it's definitely old school. Double invade action.
Of course, double invade, but there's 4 players there waiting for them, right? Like, they know what's up. They know what this thing's about. They're going to secure this and hopefully bully these other players here. Falsoon is putting some decent pressure, able to take away the red. Woo. Meanwhile, Pooty down on HP, but not knocked out as the rest of the players take to path. Pooty does back, and they're going to see if they can run straight back across the map.
Oh, the quarterback puts in the reps, okay? The steps, the reps, and all of the rest. Oof, hyper voice into that Sableye stun that is so devastating to deal with. And for the first time in tonight's series, Pocket Rocket have their hand on the Sylveon. This Pokemon, I think, is potentially like the SSS tier Pokemon in the metagame right now. The toughest Pokemon to KO, I swear, in the game, and so incredibly strong in a variety of ways. Sylveon really taking over the NAC.
You can see Falsoon really using their Sableye vision incredibly well to see where Black CH is and actually get a decent engage. Now Black can't really step up, which means the rest of Pocket Rockets can. They get a hoop, a knockout, and Falsoon's in the back line picking their pockets as well. Stepping right on top of OG as OG's low on HP, and we're just stacking in their face. Finally coming up is Zealot. Not I Love Zealot, but I love what Zealot's doing here. Getting a knockout on the Machoke. We're pivoting right back the other way. Cranberry moves forward with a little branch poke here, but finds themselves in the face of 3. Electro Ball chases them out. They take a ball toy for their troubles.
Electro Ball hitting there, while it doesn't get the KO, it doesn't even bring anyone that low, it might be relevant because Trevenant does lose the passive, right? That extra HP restoration they gain, as well as the damage amplification that Trevenant gets when they lose that little green part of their HP bar. So it could be relevant a little bit later on, especially when we hit that 8-minute fight in the middle, but neither of these seem super interested. G gonna send 2 targets there, the Gabite and the Slowbro, but Pooty, well, they have a different mission.
And that is running away, and they are successful here, Zoinks. Pooty gonna reset here, do their karate chops as they make it back to base. Nice jump over the wall, engage on Eggnoob, little confused Ray, Horn leached away. Now Eggroom finds himself at half HP with not a lot of room to work as Gabite does get a KO. OG moving forward, let's see if they can do a little bit more. Surf combination with Slash, but no, it's the tree that sorts out OG yet again. Cranberry goes down here. The rest of G is looking to score and bring some balance to this score sheet.
Oh, finally, it feels like, though, for G. I mean, there's been a lot of disruption on the side of Pocket Rockets. It has slowed down this team quite a bit. However, Zealot, one of those targets that I don't think has been feeling the pressure too hard. Very early goal zone break, but I mean, who are we really caring about getting levels on the side of Pocket Rockets? Nobody's scaling. Maybe in another world you'd say Machamp, but not if you've seen how Pooty's been playing it these past few games.
No, but all of that trouble got them a Regice here.
Yeah.
Zealot shows up and doesn't really look like a little stunned there as we have the two-step. Mimikyu is in there, but Leafeon is knocked out. Quick Mimikyu Unite as well. KO streak of 2 by the Mimikyu, including the Hoopa. Now, G is sitting up top. They're trying to get this Regieleki, but the rest of Pocket Rockets is there. We're going straight for the Thievery right into the middle. Cranberry's there for the support. And now we have the tank Machoke. Let's see if they can do something. Trev Unite is popped, and a Gabite is down. OG sent pack, and Slash is getting the break speed off them by multiple players. They are just in a stun cycle, as finally we're going to have to scream the rest of the way down, and able to secure the Regieleki as Slash in the midst of all that chaos. But Zealot is there. They're going to get their first KO. They're getting screamed at. HP pool is going down, down, down as Sableye gets credit for it. Slash still somehow hanging on, Zoinks, and that might be the story of the scrap here. Oh, sent packing instantly.
Yeah. The only way they could finally shut down Slash is a Unite move to send him back to base. But, I mean, it was really interesting to watch what Slash was doing there on the slow bro. There was so much crowd control to have to deal with it. Clearly, we could see they were locked in the stun cycle like we've mentioned before. But Amnesia being utilized in key positions to make sure that they have just enough room to work. They had a very difficult choice moment after moment of when to use that specific move to dodge some of the crowd control, and in the end they walk away with a Regieleki in what looked like a 1v4 battle. So impressive stuff for G. All that being said, the scoreboard is not looking in their favor. So much early game pressure for Pocket Rockets. They're looking great, and quarterback showing up for work today.
Yeah, big cross-chop submission combination trying to line them up for Mimikyu, but Hoopa does get out of dodge just in time. Black CH suss it out from the champ. Their 4 big arms are there. Mimikyu jumps in. Can they actually pivot to a KO? We've got an engage on Black, forcing out the Unite move. Slow Beam actually picks up Falsoon. Falsoon goes down on the Sableye, but that's not a prime target. We're popping the rings unbound. We're looking to scrap. The big fists at a distance are doing some work. Zealot is there to clean up the trash. Can they find another one? The Mimikyu would be prime here. Can they do what they do? KO streak of 2. Popping the Trev Unite doesn't find too many targets here, but we still got the big ring stuns from the top rope here as Machamp is going to work their way back into the mix. They're going to try to. G sitting on the goal pad. We're trying to horn leech them away, and G is just falling like dominoes now. They've overstayed their welcome, and Cranberry says, I'm going to step on you. Ocean spray.
Oh, Cranberry with a Quadra on the Trevenant. Obviously, Falsoon with a silver medal in that entire engagement, but Cranberry taking the MVP in that specific battle. Confused Ray from Falsoon as well to make sure that Slash can't steal a second objective in this game, but impressive stuff. Nice initiation by G. Great choice by Zealot to use the Emerald 2-step on the Mimikyu, knowing they didn't have the Unite move. Take them out of the fight before they could earn it, but very, very impressive response from Pocket Rocket.
I mean, this quarterback action's looking pretty good. Black CH popping through with Eggnoob, and maybe they're fighting a little angry now as just scrapping them in half is this Pocket Rocket team. I don't think G knows how to pivot and adjust.
Oh, Mimikyu gets out of that fight too. Meanwhile, OG is using the Garchomp Unite move in the backline and trying to chase him down, but a clever Shadow Sneak onto a Baltoy is all the escape that they need, and they're able to escape to the other side. Regieleki is going to be the main focus of G at the moment, but it feels like a consolation prize at this point in time as we are at 3 minutes and 20 seconds left in this match, and it's been all Pocket Rocket so far.
It really, really has. I mean, Zealot is just trying to put down Fall Soon, but having just a heck of a time. Another slow beam here by Slash at the 3-minute mark, trying to find a premium target. They're ripping through this Regieleki, but the fight rages on. Boosted Auto on top of the Machamp. We're fighting up top here. Nice little surf to give separation. OG has been a non-factor, and they find themselves finally engaging and becoming yet what? A non-factor, as everybody's trying to catch the resets, but they're knocked out before that can happen. Slash, really the only shining star here until the Sableye showed up. Zoinks, this is a mess.
Yeah, I mean, there's just too much crowd control this time. I mean, it's wild. In a game where we left the Slowbro and the Zarina behind, we found more crowd control for the team. But Submission Machamp, Mimikyu unites, Sableye stuns, Trevenant, Cornleech. I mean, there's just too much for this Garchomp to deal with. Even now that they're getting into their plus moves territory, the lifesteal on Garchomp's a little bit more. Black's been basically perma on coaching on this Garchomp the entire time to give them HP restoration. Even that is not enough for OG to get to work. Obviously, the Unite move is going to be a little bit better of an option. They'll have hindrance resistance. That is what OG is going to be moving towards, but their option of win conditions are shrinking by the second.
Yeah, nice little confuse rate on Eggnoob. They're going straight into the middle. OG picks up a ton of them, though. Tons of damage put down right on OG. Boosted Auto on top of Cranberry. Fall Soon's at half HP. Slash is babysitting them. Solar Beam doesn't hit the broadside of a barn as Fall Soon's going for the back half 80 banger. We're still sitting in the middle. Tons of vision everywhere. They're not going to be able to stop any more points from raining in. So now G needs to make a move to the middle. Garchomp is back. The rings are unbound. They're going to pull them through. They're going to find a target. Slow Beam on top of the Machamp, and the Machamp Unite pops back the other way. They still haven't gone down. Pootie's looking for more. Ray is getting so low. They take out Zealot. We're straight in the middle. Who's going to secure? It's going to be Pocket Rockets. Hoopa takes care of a target, but it's the Sylveon, the SSS tier Pokemon Zoinks, that takes it for the gang.
Atlay has been putting on an immaculate performance in this matchup. G is going to try to bring this series back with a few scores on the other side. There's still a minute left on the clock and a lot of points on the board, so there is room to play for both of these squads. But with I Love Zalute hovering around the bottom side, protecting that path, and let's face it, the ever-present threat of the Sableye, who now is set up for yet another Hundo Burger, things are looking bleak for G right now.
It really, really is. 45 seconds to cobble together a miracle. They need 114 points here, Zoinks. And what are they contending with? A Sableye that gets to do whatever they want. Hundo Banger with the shield. Boom! Make it 414. This is looking dire, and G, the NA qualified squad, might find themselves packing here in Unite Mike's Mayhem, and we've got the opportunity for a real upstart to make some magic happen in our week 4.
Yeah, Pocket Rockets, as foretold, showcasing some crazy comps, some exciting strategies, and obviously a winning recipe in Pokemon Unite as we count down the final 10 seconds, as it will be not enough. G will be eliminated from Unite Mike's Mayhem Season 5 by Pocket Rockets in a 2-1 fashion.
I cannot believe what we just watched. That was one of my favorite sets I've seen in a minute. Credit to Pocket Rockets the whole way through. What were these compositions? I don't know, but they worked. 2-1.
They worked. I mean, Ender and I, when we were casting Underdunk, I believe we were trying to come up with all the different names for different sport positions that Pootie was trying to play, but I think when it comes down to it, the quarterback is the shining star. 1 KO, 8 assists. I Love Zalute in double digits in the KO front. By the way, that's Mimikyu, a Pokemon that is incredibly strong right now. I think a lot of people underrating it. They're like, just draft tanky comps into it. Well, watch out, because I Love Zalute putting up a fantastic performance there. Almost 100k damage, 90,000 damage on that Mimi. Zalute only able to bring up 60,000, so just a comparison between our two central area players on either side.
Yeah, but compared to anything going on the side of G, I mean, awful showing, right? There is nothing that G can be happy with what they just put up against the Pocket Rockets here. It was very clear Pocket Rockets were having fun. They were seizing the opportunity and doing it their own way. G was maybe feeling like they had this in the bag, then got rattled, then didn't pivot or adjust incredibly well, and I can't imagine what those comms sound like right now. But we say this, the Pocket Rockets fire off into the next part of our event. G, well, they're stuck on the landing pad here. Houston, we've got a problem. On the other side, though, we've got another banger matchup. Zoinks,
We
where are we
do.
going? Where are we going?
Next up, we have Umbra Vulpium. I mean, they have been competing in Unite Mike's Mayhem for quite some time now. On the other side, they're going to be going up against a brand new roster called the Mighty Ducks. This is going to be pure Neon and Freak's new squad. Joining them, I believe, will be Ducky and Koozie. So going to be a brand... Just hit my mic. Sorry if that was super loud, everybody, but it is going to be a very fun matchup. We're going to jump to a back soon screen just so that we can get it all set up. But trust me, the match will be ready momentarily. Don't go anywhere. More Unite Mike's Mayhem right after this.